Welcome to Cripple Baldy, a podcast for the rest of us.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. We would like to welcome you to sit down, have a drink, smoke a smoke, toke a toke. Talking about the marijuanas, in case you didn't get that.
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. All right, welcome to the newest edition of the Cripple and Baldy podcast, where a crippled bitch and a bald bitch talk about how everyone's a bitch. Not really, but...
Yeah, that's the basis of our program.
So what's up with you?
So I went to an ABBA concert with my mother recently.
All right.
And
all right. Was there something in the air that night?
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Were the stars bright?
But like, so my mom was basically like, there's nothing going on in the town that I live in. Okay. And it's mediocrity, like at its finest, like anything performance wise. So my mom was like, oh, this like ABBA tribute band is coming to, where I live. And I was like, okay, cool. She's like, you want to go? And I was like, okay. And so she bought tickets, and she bought them like closer to the front because it's way cheaper here. And also it was a fucking tribute band, right? Like how expensive could it be? But so anyways, we get there and the guy is like, I don't understand what happens to people where they like just all of a sudden like they see a disabled person and they forget how to do their job. Like, you know, like,
yeah. So
we go there, give him the ticket. He shows us this handicap accessible area that's like kind of in the back. And he says, will this do? To which my mom is like, these aren't our seats. We paid for like seats that were more in the front. And she looked at the tickets and she's like, what the hell? Why are you putting a, like this number doesn't match where you're like, what the fuck? And then the guy was like, oh, okay, I think maybe these are more like over here. I'm like, what? Like, what do you, like, we asked you, show us where our seats are, and you like saw a wheelchair and then you just like forgot how to like match numbers? I don't like, what?
He got so nervous for no reason. People really need to like...
That's so
like,
rude though. It's
yeah.
like we paid more money to be closer and he put us like in the back.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And then me and my mom, so we were sitting at our seats and then my mom says, do you like ABBA? And I was like, no. Do you? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay.
Why didn't you guys go?
Because there's nothing fucking going on. We literally left halfway through because it was pretty bad. And they hated their lives. Like, the performers were like annoyed that they were doing it. Yeah. I don't
So
even,
there
like,
wasn't something in the night or something in the air that night?
I guess not.
Poor Fernando.
But can you explain to me how people like can't do their job? Like, I don't understand what happens when you see a disabled person that you think, oh, let me put them in an area where their seats aren't. Like, I don't.
But did he put you in like an accessible seating?
Yes, but those weren't our seats.
Yeah.
And the seats that we had were also accessible.
Yeah, I think that companies just need to like do more training on like disability and like diversity and inclusion, just because like there's no reason to freak out. Like, calm the fuck down.
I know. Like, why do you have to be trained to put someone in their seat? I don't that's what doesn't make any sense though when you say like, oh, they need to like do more training and disability. Like, what's there to know? Here is my ticket. That is the seat number. Go find my fucking seat.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, like, if people haven't been around a lot of disabled people in their lives, like, they freak out. It's like that if
they do.
Yeah, especially like when like people haven't seen like black people or other people of color, like people are like, oh, what the fuck? And they stare and shit. It's the same shit. So something interesting, really not that interesting, happened to me. It was kind of funny. Cripple and Baldy have a P.O. box, and I went to go check it the other day, and I forgot that I had put it under my name. And so then I was like, no, the package was probably sent to Cripple and Baldy at the post office. And the lady that I was talking to goes, what? And I was like, you might want to check for Cripple and Baldy. And she goes, what? And I said, Cripple and Baldy. And she goes, what? Can you write that down? So I wrote it down and then said it and gave her the piece of paper. And she was like, what? And I was like, it's called Cripple and Baldy. It's the name of my podcast. I know it's fucking weird. Like, you wouldn't have thought that that was what I was saying to you, but that's literally what I was saying to you. And she was like offended.
What?
She was like offended. She was like, what do you mean, Cripple and Baldy? What do you mean? I don't know. It was awkward.
What did you say?
I laughed nervously. I mean, like, what else am I supposed to do? I was just trying to leave. I was just trying to see, like, if we had mail. And, like, yeah.
The funny thing is, though, this person, she was able-bodied.
She was able-bodied, and she was a person of color.
And she had hair.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, the fact that she was offended is fucking ridiculous because she is probably the same person that would be condescending as fuck to a person that is disabled. So, like, but she's offended by the word when she literally doesn't know any background story. You know what I mean?
And
or
I
if
literally
she saw
was
you
like,
without
that's
your
the name of my podcast.
And her response was still that she was offended?
I don't think, like, when I said, like, it's the name of my podcast, like, registered with her. But even still, she's like, what the fuck kind of, sorcery is this?
Okay, well.
Also, I felt really bad last night. I think I made someone feel bad about themselves because I'm an idiot.
Why? What did you do?
Well, I don't know. Me and my boyfriend were being stupid, and I was just, like, doing an evil laugh really loudly, and I wouldn't stop doing it as we drove to dinner. And so then I decided to roll down the window so that it echoed in the parking lot that we were in, and it was right next to a grocery store. And there was someone trying to cross the street, and, like, I was still laughing maniacally, and they, like, stopped. And I was like, what are they doing? Like, go. While still laughing maniacally, I was just motioning with my hand. And then I realized that this man who was heavier probably thought that I was laughing at him. And I felt like the shittiest person because the reality was I was being an idiot. And I wasn't laughing at him.
Why did he look back at you or something? Like
he did.
Oh.
And I was like, what is he doing? He's not, like, crossing the road. And then I was like, I'm the asshole here. And then I went and I ate a chimichanga. Whoever you are, I was being an idiot. I'm sorry. I make bad choices.
She does.
Moving on. So have you heard about T.I. Taking his daughter to the gyno every year and checking to see if she has a hymen?
Yeah. What the fuck? Also, like, he even says, like, the doctors tell him, you know that your hymen can be broken from, like, various ways that has nothing to do with intercourse. And he still is like, I don't care.
She doesn't do any of those things. It should still be intact.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, my God.
Because they said, if you are riding a bicycle or are going horseback riding, you could break your hymen. And he's like, well, she doesn't do any of that, so I already know. I'm like, dude.
No, there's a lot of other ways, too. It's
yeah, but those were
ways.
I mean, like, those were the, like, in the interview, I'm pretty sure.
The main ones that they said, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and that was his response. I was like,
she's like dude. 18 also. Like, what the fuck? And what a creeper. Why does he care?
Probably because, like, T.I. and was it Tiny is his wife's name? Smalley? I don't know. They were, like, teen
Tiny.
parents.
Her name's Tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to watch that show. Like, I've seen a few episodes. Anyways, continue. Yes.
Probably because they were teen parents. I get it, but, like, it's still wrong.
Yeah, but she's 18 now. And also, like, they're rich as fuck.
Like, I mean... Is he gonna continue to do it after she's 18?
Ti's wife is like way older than him. Like he was a teen parent and she was like 30 or something.
What?
Like she is way older than him.
How much older?
Like way older. I don't know exactly. I don't remember. Which I was kind of like, damn, because Tia is like really good looking and she's not that cute. And like I'm like, damn girl, like. But he had a kid before her too, so he was already like a parent. And then like, I don't know, like, yeah. That girl got her fucking okay. Tia's wife, Tiny, she went and got her eyes changed to blue.
What?
In a different country because she really wanted to have blue eyes. And it's like, there's all these like things that can happen to you when you do that. And it's still like a new thing that you could potentially go blind. And she didn't care. And she was like, I just really want blue eyes. So I'm just going to risk it.
Yeah. That's terrible. Okay. He was born in 1980 and she was born in 1975.
Yeah, and they met when he was like 15 or something, and they had like their kid. It was something crazy like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So she was 5 years, like he was like 15.
Oh, wait, is she only 5 years older than him? I thought she was like 10 years older than him.
No, 5.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I mean, but like still, if you're like 20 and you're like fucking a 15-year-old boy, like what the hell? 2001, how old was he? I don't know. I don't care enough.
He would have been 21, right? 2001 if he's born in 80. Bitch, do math.
I'm bad at math.
You are. That's an easy.
Like, I don't know. I don't care enough to figure it out.
That you don't have to. That's like a quick like 2001 he was born in 80. Like there's nothing. You add a 1, 20, like 2 decades. Like come on, dude. Like I'm not good at math either, but all right. I guess we know who is the one that should have been in the GATE program. Talking about myself.
Actually, I was in higher than GATE. I was in seminar.
Oh, really? I didn't get anything at all. And I'm a pretty smart person. But also, there's this thing where kids who have disabilities tend to lack in, like, school because they're dealing with their physical ailments. And that's something that I did not know. And I thought I was dumb when I was little.
That's so sad.
It really is.
Well,
also, I feel like those are just trying to train you to be elitist too. That kind of bullshit. They're just trying to like pit kids like against each other. I'm serious. I think it's like, oh well, I'm not that smart.
Dude, like they were like mean to me in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They started this like clique. They're like, ugh, Baldy can't be in the clique. We're gonna start a clique. And I was like, what? And there were like weirder kids in there than me. I was like barely weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like, yeah. Middle school's rough. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever.
Yeah. I remember I had a friend that I grew up with who would be considered hot. And she's like 2 years younger than me. And I remember in middle school, like she started like developing and I was just this fat like turd. You know?
Potato. And I think potato is more accurate.
Okay, thank you. Yes, potato.
You're edible and delicious.
Whatever. So I remember though, like we never were in school together until about like middle school, and like she would like whenever she'd be like seen around like talking to me or whatever, like her friends were telling her like, why do you hang out with that girl? Like, why are you around her? Like, you're too pretty kind of shit. And then she, fun fact, stopped hanging out with me because she was too pretty for me. So yeah, we ended up like getting back together like when she started doing like middle or homeschool. Not homeschool, it's charter. Then she was like, oh, okay, we can be friends again. But the fact that happened, and then also whenever I now show anybody what she looks like, whenever I'm talking about her, they're like, oh, let me look at her on Facebook. Or they'll find a picture of her on Facebook and be like, who's that hottie that you're hanging out with? And then they're like, why would you ever stop being friends with that? And I'm like, you're right. I should definitely stay friends with people based on the fact that they're hot and not on the fact that they treat me like I deserve nothing because I'm a disabled person. I wonder if she ever listens to this. And if she does, she's probably going to be like, I didn't do that. And then everybody's going to like believe her because she's beautiful and I'm just a turd. So
to be fair,
I'm a beautiful turd. I know. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're a chocolate covered turd.
Oh.
It's like you are fudge pretending to be a turd. All right. Yeah.
Wow.
Also,
like
that girl is not like smart.
She is not smart. What do you mean? She's not dumb. Like, this is dumb. Baldy being a hater right now.
Whatever. You were just hating. I'm allowed to hate.
Yeah, I'm hating on her for like reasons that I have though that are like real.
Well, she's dumb.
Like, you didn't hang out with her enough to even know that. Like, I don't like to go placing like bullshit when it's not true. Whatever. You know what I mean? She's not dumb. She's just like believes in the idea that you have to be pretty and nice. Like, that's all a woman's worth is, and that's what she holds to. Like, that's her whole like life's being. That's like what she needs to be all the time. And she was always congratulated for like hanging out with me. I mean, all of my friends who are able-bodied are always. Yeah, you were always congratulated as well.
A French man with very bad BO told me I was an angel.
Oh yeah, he fucking did. He was so good at hair though, you know.
Yeah, your hair looked
really
good.
Also a heroin addict. That guy was definitely a heroin addict.
He smelled terrible.
Yeah, because he's French and they're gross. I'm just kidding for all of you French enthusiasts. I went to France last summer and we were sitting there eating crepes. I know. Ugh, my life. So, which leads us, well, I guess we'll get into that topic in a minute, but I remember him saying to my friend, he literally he owned the restaurant that we were like sitting there eating at. He was a really good looking, like older French dude, like short, like tan, like gray hair, but like, I don't know. He looked good.
Silver fox.
What? Yeah, he was like fox. For reals. He was like a short silver fox. And he talked about how he lived in the US for 10 years. He was not even looking at me like the whole time they were talking. And I would say something, but it was like he would ignore me. Like, you know when I tell you like I'm funny and people like don't acknowledge that like I'm the one making everybody laugh because they're in a group setting? It was that kind of thing where like I would say something and then he'd be like, ignore that I said. It was weird. But I remember him saying to my friend, yeah, it's tough traveling in a wheelchair. And I just thought to myself, what? How the fuck do you know? What are you doing? Like, he was like basically telling them, you're so sweet for like traveling with this woman. What a or not woman. He wouldn't have referred to me as that because I'm an it, right? But I was just thinking like, who the fuck are you? What good do you have to say that shit? You know nothing about it, which brings us to our next topic of, we're going out of order here, I guess. Okay. The would you date a disabled person thing that we watched.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dude, that thing was so stupid.
It's ignorant. That's why I brought that's why I segued to that, because I'm like, he was talking about something he knew nothing about, and these people are saying shit that they know nothing about as if it's like the truth.
Yeah, so there's this episode of KTimeTV where they were doing a panel and they were asking everyone, would you date a person with a disability? And
except for they were all saying less abled. Like, because for some reason they think that's more appropriate to say. It was just weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Is that like a UK thing?
I don't think so. I think that was just a them thing. I've watched a lot of UK like disability like stuff, and they say disabled. That's like, yeah. So, anyways, yes.
So, I don't know. There was this one chick who I felt like was one of the only voices of reason there. She was just like, you know, I could say that, yeah, I would date a disabled person, or I would continue to date someone that became disabled. But until I've actually gone through it, you know, maybe it's much harder than I think it would be. Like, I don't know because I haven't been in that situation. And that is honest, right?
Yeah. Her name was Jilo.
Yeah, and she was like from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other woman that I felt like had a reason, like was actually asking people, she seemed offended. Olivia, that was her name.
With the black
She
tights.
seemed like offended by like things that these people were saying. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Continue what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's honest. I mean, and she was just like, I would be open to dating someone that's disabled, but,
She didn't really say that, though.
I mean, she kind of said that.
She said she doesn't know. She was basically like, I can't say, like, what would happen. She was like, I don't know if I'd, like, reject someone, but I don't know if I would, like, embrace that. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's at least honest. You know what I mean? And that's a little bit more open-minded than most people because, like, you don't know until you're in it. But, yeah, I don't think I have really anything to add to that.
The thing that I found ridiculous was, like, I felt like most of the conversation was this. So this one guy came over. He was like one of the producers or something. I don't know, dealing with the cameras or whatever. And this girl, Olivia, was really like, she's like, I know a guy who says of this thing, and maybe we should ask him, like, all attitude-y. And so the guy comes over and talks, and he says that he would, if he was with a girl and she became disabled, he would leave her instantly. And his reasoning was, you only live once, at the end of the day, you deserve something better. That's what he said. And the thing is, like, people, like, saying this shit is just, like, it's coming from ignorance. Because, first of all, you're saying that a disabled person couldn't give you something, like, that an able-bodied person. And you have no idea. Like, where are you getting these ideas from? And the basis of, like, what most of these guys were saying is that if they became disabled, they would break up with their girlfriend because they wouldn't want her to have to, like, live a life with, like, someone who was not a whole person, basically, and that they could no longer provide for her, and that they wouldn't really be a man, which all of this shit is completely disgusting and totally insulting to any disabled man.
It's totally discriminatory. They're talking about toxic masculinity, like,
it's ignorant, too, because they're getting this information just in their mind that they think that they couldn't. What, you think you can't work now or something? The only reason why you wouldn't be able to work is because people are ableist like you, and they're hiring, not you. You know what I mean? Like them.
I know.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. I looked at you when I said that, and you were like, what? And I was like.
I know. It took me a minute. I was like, what do you mean? What did I do? I wasn't involved with any of this.
But, like. Also, like, one of the things they kept saying, too, was, like, that they couldn't, like, perform. Like, that they wouldn't be able to have sex. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, who are you talking about? Or that they couldn't have children? And what? Where are you getting all of this information?
Well, I think
just from your ignorant head?
That one dude, like, his dad was shot in the back and he lost, control of his lower body. So I think that's what he was thinking of, like, in particular. And
but all the guys were saying that.
Yeah.
We found out about that later in the program. They were saying that before he even said that. Like,
Well, I wonder if that's just, like, I don't know. I feel like when a bunch of dudes get together, just get hive mind, and they're like, yeah, dude. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, like, with that guy's dad, he had basically said, like, that his dad could no longer perform for his mom, which is rare because usually guys who get, like, spinal cord injuries can still have sex. Like, it's not like a thing from what I've seen, from the research I've done.
What's really funny is, like, what if he just thinks that and his dad was, like, fucking the shit out of his
seriously mom? That's what I was thinking too. I was like, is this accurate? Because, like,
oh my god, I hope. He was saying, he was like, it's my mom's birthday, my dad's gonna be there. I was like, I hope that his dad, like, sits him down and was like, where do you think your younger siblings came from? You know what I'm saying?
Seriously though, seriously,
God.
And they were trying to say that, like, also, like, you wouldn't, what if I couldn't give her kids or whatever? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm the product of a disabled man who had 3 children. Okay?
Yeah, and 2 of them are very tall.
Yeah, and I'm pretty tall for my dwarf. My mom always calls me a tall dwarf. So thanks, Mama.
Yes, in case you wondered, Cripple's a dwarf. She's a little person.
Yeah, I am 4'9" and like 3/4, so like almost 4'10".
And I'm 5'2", but she wants to tell me that I'm a short bitch all the time.
Okay. Also, back to this thing. I wrote notes. Okay, so I'm going back to them to try and remember my anger. So I can get it out. So like the other thing is Olivia had asked those guys, she's like, oh, so you'd break up with her. The thing is, like, they think that once you become disabled, like, you're all of a sudden gonna have like different desires. Like, you're all of a sudden gonna like want to be alone and not like you don't deserve anybody. That's what she said. She's like, so you think if you become disabled you don't deserve anybody? And they're like, well, it's not that I don't deserve anybody, but it's like that I would have to have. And then one of the girls goes like, the right kind of person that's willing to like deal with that or like take care of you or all this shit. And I'm like, bitch, take care of. There are a lot of people who have disabilities that definitely need help with a lot of things, and that's fine. But
that's not
for
all
the
of
most
them.
part, yeah, it isn't all of them. And
like disability like has like a huge umbrella.
Yeah, it really does. And so it kind of triggered me them saying that, because I'm just like, I fucking fully take care of myself. And I'm like, I have done more than most of those fucking people on that panel have done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, fuck you limiting me. Like, they're limiting people without even knowing, though. The only person who has any knowledge is the guy whose dad became paralyzed. And even that guy is fucking ignorant. You know?
My dad can't fuck my mom.
Yeah, like you said, he probably still fucking could. Like, what? Did your dad tell you that? Like,
or did you just assume?
Yeah, he probably just fucking assumed. Like, that's what happened. But
and doesn't
like,
mean he can't fucking eat that pussy.
Yeah, thank you. What the fuck? But the thing that really did bother me, though, and I know I already said this, but I'm saying it again, is that, like, people think that when you become disabled, you all of a sudden, like, cease to exist. You know?
Yeah.
And that's disgusting. And I remember watching, there was this, like, TV show, like, probably 10 years ago that was, like, about a bunch of disabled women. But, of course, they became disabled. Why would they have a show where people were born disabled? That's also another form of ableism. Like, it's, like, where, like, if you're born able-bodied, at least, like, you used to be able-bodied or something. Like, that kind of shit. So, like, you have a little more value in that way. But I remember watching it, and this girl was, like, she was, like, probably 2 years younger than me. She was recently became disabled. She got paralyzed in, like, a car accident or something. And I remember her saying, she was like, yeah, it's great that, like, everybody feels, like, inspired by me. But, like, what about me? Like, what about, like, me having things and me having a life? And I was so beyond disgusted by this woman, because she was basically just, like, embracing the fucking ableist bullshit that, like, disabled people live to make other people feel better about themselves. And then she was realizing that she actually still wanted to have a life just like everybody else. And so she was being really frustrated, which I feel for her, but I was also, like I said, completely disgusted, because her, like, basis was ableism and her thinking that disabled people really have no value, and, like, thinking that disabled people don't want anything. That's really what it was. Like, she's like, oh, other disabled people are happy being, like, having no job and no one caring about them, but I want that. Mind you, this woman, I know someone who knows her, I found out.
What?
And
you fucking know everybody.
What?
I said, you fucking know everybody. The people that made up this panel that were doing this video are younger than me. So this is the younger generation. And I feel like it's almost like some of the younger generation is just as bad as some of the older generation. It's like we went through this, like, phase of where we, like, we're trying to gain more inclusiveness, and, like, we wanted to think critically and, like, do good in the world, and it's almost like we're backtracking now, I feel like. So
Okay.
I don't know. I was really annoyed by all of it. And like I said, there was just, like, that one chick, like, I could appreciate her honesty and, like, what she had to say about it, but the majority of what everyone said was just obnoxious. You know, they weren't even trying to think critically about the question that was asked, because, again, you hadn't experienced that. So who's to say how you would act, or, like, how would you feel, you know? I mean, it's like, you fall in love with people. You don't fall in love with someone just because. Like, that's something different. That's, you know, like,
I think most people don't, though.
You don't? They just fall in attraction?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's, like, basically, like, the whole problem. And I remember one of the guys saying, he was like, well, I guess I would, like, if I was talking to someone and I really liked this person, and then I would like go for it. But my thought when he said that was, I'm like, nobody even talks to me. So like, in order for you to like form a connection with someone and then be like, oh, I really like this person, and this is regardless of disability, it doesn't matter, right? Like like you said, attraction, like maybe you're not attracted to that person or whatever. In order for you to like get to the point of where you're like, I really like this person, like I would like to date this person, you have to actually have a conversation with the person, right? You have to actually get to know the person. But I feel like for me and my personal experience has been like, people don't want to even like talk to me. So, and that's just most people, right? And it's like, I have to kind of like put myself out there to even like talk to people. And I'm feeling really like at this point in my life, like I'm so disgusted by able-bodied people. And I feel like I've been living my life to like please them or something, or to like try and prove something to them. And I'm so at a point where I'm just like, I would be perfectly happy if I never had to interact with a new able-bodied person ever again in my life, because I really,
same shit, different day.
I'm just so done. And like, I've had so many instances where I've like known people who would have never given me a chance if it wasn't for me being friends with their friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they love me and they think I'm great and I'm like one of their best friends, but they would have never spoken to me. And so, yeah, that's about how I feel about that. So when that guy says, oh, like if I would have gotten to know someone, whatever, I'm like, well, that would involve you to actually give somebody a chance in the first place, even like on the basis of like friendship.
Yeah.
And that's something people don't do.
Yeah, that's true. Just like our next topic with Dr. Mike, the delicious Dr. Mike.
Oh, Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, how can you be the way you are? So easy on the eyes, so hard on the heart.
So those for those of you who don't know, Dr. Mike is he's like what? He's 29. Like he's a 29-year-old like medical doctor. He's like
from Russia, and he's Jewish.
Well, from Russia, like kind of. Like he was raised in the US.
Yeah.
Like he came here when he was like 5 or something.
And he's Jewish.
Is he?
Yes, dude.
He's never talked about that. Is he?
Yeah. I mean, how else would I know that?
Because you like Jewish people and you're just hoping?
The same could be said for you.
That's a good point. I do.
We should not fetishize Jewish people.
Well,
Jewish men.
They need to not be so hot then. Okay? I don't know what to tell you.
The Eastern European looking man.
He looks white as fuck. That boy is like so generically white looking. And also, okay, look, I'm a hater. Okay, he's like 6'6". It's just not fair. It is not fair for someone to look like that and then be a medical doctor. Fuck you. We've already talked about this before, so about him and whatever. So, continue.
So, he did a video with his friend, Pamela Ray Schuler. Did I say her last name right? Schuler?
I don't know. Sure.
I'm going to say Schuler. Schuler. Anyways, so she is a comedian and she has Tourette's and they're friends.
And she is 4'6".
Yes, she's 4'6". She's small but mighty.
And she very adamantly considers herself to be a person with a disability. Like, she doesn't shy away from that at all.
Yeah. And they met at this program at MIT. And I'm pretty sure that Dr. Mike was like, I would have never talked to you except for, like, I knew we were going to be friends because you kind of just went up to the person that was in charge of this class or workshop that we were doing and was like, I just bought a house. I might need to take some calls. Just very upfront about it. And he was like, that's my kind of lady. New York. That's not at all what he sounds like.
Whatever.
Yeah, New York.
Dr. Mike.
Have you seen that?
6'6". Oh.
Have you seen that bit from Will Sasso where he's like, yeah, New York, baby. And he'll just like say dumb shit. But he's like, yeah, that's New York. I love that.
No, I have not. But Will Sasso is amazing, as we've said. Will Sasso, we want you inside of on our podcast.
I just want you guys to know that she completely just like looked away and acted like she hadn't just said that after she said that. Anyways, so back to the video with Pamela Ray Schuler, who's pretty cool, I will say. So, I mean, he was just straight up like, I wouldn't talk to her except for like this random encounter that we had. And then I was like, okay, we're friends.
Well, he didn't like say that.
Huh?
He didn't say he wouldn't have talked to her.
I mean, like, he probably wouldn't have. I think it's
no,
safe
he
to
probably
assume.
wouldn't have, but he wouldn't have said that because he's a very like, I think he's also of the mind like that you need to be nice to everybody and be pretty. Like, even though he's a man, but he's like a beautiful man. So like he has that
beautiful
kind of, like,
man.
I mean, I don't think he's like super hot. Like he's generic looking, but like
I'm still not over. I'm not over Dr. Mike yet. I'll get there
because I think he said some ableist shit in this video. So I can like you can go fuck yourself, Dr. Mike. But he won't. He'll be fucking models. So anyways,
I just love that she was just like fucking calling him out.
Oh yeah, she made a joke. She said Mike dates 10. To be clear, that's how hot they are and also their IQs. And then his response was like, it wasn't a burn on him and it was a burn on his dates. And I'm like, nah, dude, that's a burn on you because it shows that you only care about what people look like.
Yeah.
And not what's actually in their head. So I don't know how he didn't like, I don't know. That guy is super insecure though. Like I was watching a video where it was like people were like roasting him and he got so butthurt. And I was like, dude, these are mild. Like relax.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He's a titty baby, Dr. Mike.
So I took some notes on this, okay? And I wanted to
hey guys, according to my notes.
So she says she's talking about like she was very much like trying to talk about disability in this video, and I feel like she was trying to like explain, and she's very nice about it, and I am not, and I will not be. You all other disabled people, you can fucking be sugarcoating.
You're like the Malcolm
shit.
X of disability.
Oh, like just rageful?
Yeah.
Like not trying to, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Cripple X.
Cripple X. Okay, whatever.
I don't know enough about Malcolm X to understand if that's an appropriate comparison, but from what I know, that's what I'm going with.
I feel like I understand disabled people wanting to like sugarcoat shit because they want people to listen to them, like the able-bodied people to listen to them. But I feel like when you're too mild and kind of like too forgiving of the able-bodied person's ignorance, all you're doing is perpetuating the bullshit, which is like, I feel like a lot of able-bodied people will like pat themselves on the back for like even like having a disabled person at their house or something, that kind of shit. And I feel like Dr. Mike is kind of that person. Yeah. And I have reasons for that, which is like the notes that I took. But I just am at the point in my life too where I'm like, usually the response I'll get when I'm so like aggressive towards people about like their ableism and stuff is that I'm angry because I'm disabled because they're dumb. And like, that's the only message they give me. But the other thing is like, if I wasn't angry, it would be the same shit anyways. Yeah. They would still think that I'm sad and unfortunate and that my life is not worthwhile.
That's the same kind of thing that like Black women get, you know, like how they're seen as like this, you know, the stereotype of the angry Black woman. You're you're not Black, you're disabled.
I feel like I'm going to be how I am towards people because I'm dealing with a lot of, I do not speak for every disabled person, but I certainly feel like there's a lot of disabled persons that would agree with me. We have just been so just abused by the society that I'm not going to sit there and like smile at you while you treat me like shit. Like I'm going to call you out. I'm going to give you points of like exactly what you're doing. Like I like to give people examples of like their prejudice, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To which they will get offended and like tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, back to Dr. Mike. So
Dr. Mike,
this woman Pamela, she was talking about how her difficulties in school having Tourette's and basically how like the school didn't know like how to help her, basically. And so they kind of villainized her. And she said this was a direct quote from somebody who was an advocate for the disabled kids, which
doesn't make any fucking sense.
This is an advocate, okay, mind you, for disabled kids in school. And this is what she said. Kids with disabilities, kids like Pam, don't get A's and B's. They don't get into college, and they don't get invited to hang out at the mall. If you lower your expectations now, it will be easier for you in the future. This was a disabled advocate, or disabled kid advocate for disabled kids. I'm sorry, this person was definitely not disabled, because a disabled person would not be so fucking dismissive of another disabled person. But
also, like, how can you say that when you've been working with like strictly disabled kids for so long? Because
this person's ableist. That's why it's disgusting.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, like, there are so many different kinds of disabled people that to make that kind of gross generalization is just wrong. It's inaccurate. I mean,
see, to me, this, like, I feel like this pinpoints like the problem in our society, which is that people don't listen. They don't want to see a disabled person as more than just like an more than just like a thing that can't do anything. And even though this woman who had written this had probably had various amounts of like interactions with disabled kids, she still believes in her mind that they have no value. And these are the people that are influencing disabled kids. Like, it's just, it disgusts me, and it makes me want to get in there and help out, because I'm like, I'm not good. Like, that's so horrible that you would say that shit to people. But the thing that I found ridiculous about this, and which is why I'm not team Dr. Mike, his response after she had said this was, he wasn't like shocked and appalled, which I feel like would be a normal response, not to a normal able-bodied person, because they do believe that disabled people are less than the average, not everybody. Hey, y'all, you know.
Like
but
me,
his response
I'm not
was
average.
What?
I said, like me, I'm not average.
Yeah, you're not average. You're not, for sure. I agree. So his response to this was, were you not getting A's and B's? Like, so to me, I'm like, he was trying to like find this able-bodied woman's reasoning for like saying this. Like, people always want to take the able-bodied person's side no matter what. You know what I mean? I really find this. So like, it's not that because to me, this is like so completely inappropriate and disgusting that somebody saying this, I would immediately side with Pamela and be like, holy shit, that is wrong. That is not okay that this happened. And his response was, well, what did you do, like, to make her say that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Victim blaming, basically.
Oh, for sure. That's totally what it was. And I was like, wow, Dr. Mike.
Easy on the eyes, hard on the heart.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, this goes back to my original thought.
I mean, I'm glad she was just like, no, I wasn't in school because I was having these violent, like, tics. I broke my fucking neck because I used to toss my head. I have Tourette's. Like, what part of that don't you understand? Like, I was so disruptive in the classroom that they took me out of the normal classroom. They put me in special ed, but I didn't have any, like, developmental, like, delays or anything. I was just fucking, like, having these very violent tics. In fact, every doctor I saw said this was the worst case that I've ever seen. You know, like, why? Like, I didn't sit still long enough to fucking even retain or not be disrupting any kind of instruction. So why the fuck would you think that I had, you know, that? So I'm glad she was just like, excuse me, hello, back to earth, Dr. Mike, like.
Well, she didn't say attitude. She was very nice.
I mean,
like,
she was nice
time.
about
very
it, but
agreeable.
but she was just like, you know, hello. I mean, it wasn't attitude. It was like, it wasn't quite blunt either. It was just more, it wasn't just, she was doing more than just being agreeable. She wasn't just like, remember, I was having these really violent tics and I was disruptive in the class. So no, Dr. Mike. Like, you know, it was a little bit like, she was being nice about it, but she was, the whole like general like demeanor was just like, what the fuck?
Right. Like, she didn't, like, just agree with what he said.
Yeah,
I get
no.
what you're saying.
She was
Like,
just
she
like-
did still say, no, actually, this is what's happening. But she said it in a way that was, like, still nice. Like,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. No, and like I said, I get it. I get disabled people that do that. There is definitely need for that because able-bodied people don't even want to listen anyways. This is partly why I'm, like, I feel so done with able-bodied people. Like, I'm just like, no, thank you. I do not want to speak to anybody who I don't already know that's able-bodied.
No new friends, basically.
I don't want anything to do with them. That's how I feel at this point. Like, I do not want to. And is that prejudice? Yeah, it is. But I don't want to be abused anymore. And, like, my experience is that I am abused by strangers. So if you're able-bodied and you're in my life, cool. Let's stay friends. But other than that, okay. I'm good. I'm tired. So the other thing that he said that I felt was very ableist was she was basically, like, he was trying to understand what she was saying. And she was saying, like, disabled people, like, they're not all sad and, like, wish they were whole. That's what she said. And when she said wish they were whole, I thought to myself, bitch, we are whole. What the fuck are you talking about? But, which I don't think she meant that we weren't whole. I feel like it was kind of like her trying to just, like, put it in perspective for people, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know.
I wish I was in your hole.
Yeah, you do. Don't, like, say that. You can be in my hole, baby. Just another month. So basically she was saying, like, I don't like the term inspiration is, like, offensive and blah, 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 all that stuff. Right. And so he says, but, like, that he wishes that he was as good in, like, his analogy to being disabled, I guess. I don't know.
Was basketball.
Yeah. It was like, yes. And he basically said that he wishes he was as good in basketball as LeBron is. And, like, if somebody wishes they were as good in basketball as LeBron, but they, like, do soccer and they have, like, a bum leg, like, that's okay, right? That's, like, basically what he said. And I was like, what do you mean? That's like
Is
saying,
he really
like,
that into basketball? I don't think so.
I don't know, because he kept fucking using that analogy, but that's not the point. Like, I don't understand. Like, him saying that to me came across as him being like, well, like, able-bodied people are like LeBron, right? So they're, like, good at everything and, like, can do things. And disabled people are being over here sad with a bum fucking knee, used to play soccer, can't anymore, going and staring at LeBron with, like, shiny lights in their eyes because they wish they were LeBron. So, like, to him, like, his analogy was, like, completely ableist, which is just, like, all disabled people wish they were able-bodied. That's what I got from that. I don't know. What do you think? What's your analysis of that?
I mean, okay, so I'm a little bit confused. So was that what he said, and then Pamela said something, and then he went on to say, like...
Okay, so the way that he said it was actually a little confusing. Yeah. So this is what it was. It was basically like she was saying disabled people are okay with ourselves. We are fine with ourselves. We don't go around wishing we were whole. Mm-hmm. And then he says, well, if I wish I was, he says, it's like, I wish I was as good at basketball as LeBron James, mm-hmm. after she says this, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, but I'm not as good at basketball as LeBron James. I'm over here playing soccer with a fucked up leg or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what it was.
Oh, I think what I got confused by is I was thinking about when he was talking about inclusion, about how, like, the difference between being like, it's okay, like, it, like, is it okay to, like, be like, oh, we really want to win this game, but you've got, like, a bum leg or something, and, like, so you can't play with us because we're trying to win, and then afterwards be like, yeah, you can come be a part of us because we have already won, and that's us being, like, inclusive and being like, yay, you, even though you weren't a part of the process, versus, like, bringing you in while they're working towards the goal.
Yeah, but do you think he was being ableist? Like, do you think like I told you, what I got from him saying the LeBron James thing.
Yeah, no.
Is he's over here wishing he was LeBron James. Was him like attributing that to like disabled people over here wishing they were able-bodied.
Yeah, no, because
she literally just said they don't. But he was still like, yeah, but they must. Like, people can't take that in, that we're okay with ourselves. They can't. That just doesn't make sense to them. Right?
Yeah. No, what he said was ableist. I agree. But, like, what I don't understand is why he was, like, saying everyone's LeBron. Because, like, LeBron is, like, the exception. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that are, like, really good at, like, one particular thing. But that shouldn't be what he compares, like, all of able-bodied people to. Because there's one
That's
LeBron.
a really good... Yeah, but that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Right? Because LeBron is the exception, right? He's a great basketball player. Like, he's very talented. Right? I don't know anything about
I don't know anything about
your...
sports. But okay. I have heard from the talkie pictures that LeBron James.
Right. So, but I feel like him, like, saying that, like, it's like saying, like, able-bodied people are, like, exceptional compared to, like, disabled people. He had also said that she was, he said, can he be proud of his friend, who was her, he was talking about her, for getting past all of the everything in her life. She got past her disability and all this stuff. Can he be proud of her? And, like, you know, is successful in life or whatever. And my response to that was, past what? She got past it? No, dude, she's getting through it still. Like,
yeah, like
the way that she's dealing with ableism is humor.
Yeah.
The reason why she got into it is because of the ableism, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're not getting past your disability. When I sing, I'm not getting past it. I sing because of the pain of the ableism, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand why he would say, like, getting past it. I mean, she's still disabled. She still has Tourette's. That's something that's going to be a part of her life. That's a part of her, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she did things in spite of the challenges that she was faced with. But, I mean, like, you should be happy for whatever achievements you or your friends, like, do. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, like, it can be anything. You know what I mean? Achievements are achievements.
His idea of her is that she's limited.
Yeah.
Like, he still has that idea, because that's why he says getting past, because he believes that, like, she's, like, done something that most disabled people don't, right?
Yeah.
Because we're all just sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves.
Yeah. No.
So being sad we're disabled, when really we're sitting around feeling sad that we're not included and treated like shit. I mean, the basis of disabled people's problem is other or able-bodied people treating them like they can't do things, not giving them a chance, aka not giving them work.
Yeah.
Not including them in anything. Dismissing them before they even know their talent, which makes us go back to our next topic. Which is, this woman wrote a, I love her now. We need to get her on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. No, I love her, too. I was thinking that, too.
Yeah, we should. She has a website called Crutches and Spice, which is just, like, the cutest fucking name for a website, first of all. And her name is...
Amani.
Yeah. Yes.
Amani Barbarin? Barbarin?
I do not know. I did not get her last name, so...
Amani! Love us because we love you.
So, do you want to talk about the article, or?
Yeah, so she was talking about America's Got Talent. There was a dude on there named Cody Lee, and he was a blind autistic man who is fucking talented. Like, I don't know. He's got a great voice. What do you think about his voice?
I want to also put out that he is not just talented, because that is kind of like the basis of like the article, which is that we're like dismissing his skill as though it was just some magical thing that happened, right?
I mean, so, like, I feel like people can be like, I see what you're saying. I'm not discounting that, but I'm just saying, like, you have to be talented. You could be like technically like a good like singer but not have like a good tone, right?
Right. I agree with that. But I also
Yeah.
wasn't just referring to the singing. I was also referring to him playing piano, which is a skill.
Yeah. No, that's a skill.
And also singing is a skill as well, because you can have a beautiful tone and not know how to use your voice. Or you can know, like you said, you can know how to use your voice and not have a beautiful tone.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a nice tone for sure to his voice.
Yeah.
He's got a nice pop singing voice. I would definitely agree to that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is that like people were so they were infantilizing him. Like he came up onto the stage
and they're like, "Oh, why?
Yeah, how
he's
sweet,
a fucking grown ass man."
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, how cute that he's gonna like try and like sing. Oh, how cute that a disabled person thinks that they can like try at something." And like the whole audience was completely shocked when he started singing and playing, and that's the most disgusting part for me, because people are so like, they so believe that disabled people have no abilities in any way, that it would be impossible for a person with a disability to have any sort of talent or skill. So when they hear that he can sing and play piano, their minds get blown.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, maybe I'm skipping ahead, but I watched the his performance on America's Got Talent. Is it America's Got Talent? Yeah, America's Got Talent. And like first of all, he is like visually impaired, or he's fucking blind. Don't go up to a blind person and just grab them. Like the judges were like, "Hey, let me give you a hug." I'm like, "Bitch." Like he's fucking blind. Not only that, but he's like autistic. Like that's like completely like not okay. Like I get like you thought it was okay, but like don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like
the other thing that I found like very disturbing about this whole piece is that Gabrielle Union, I think is her name, beautiful woman. I remember seeing her on Seventh Heaven. She's like 45. Like
really?
She looks amazing.
Yeah, no, she looks great.
Like Jesus.
I didn't realize she was that young.
She said to him, and this is a grown man, okay? Cody Lee is a fully grown man. She says to him, I just like had a kid recently, and as a parent, you want to give your kids like the moon, the stars, and rainbows. And she's like, so I want to give you this gift. And then like pushes the golden buzzer, which means like you're going straight to Las Vegas on that show.
Los Angeles.
Oh, is it Los Angeles?
I don't know. Las Vegas. You're going to like the fucking
No, it's Las
like...
Vegas. I'm pretty sure it's Las Vegas. That Los Angeles is American Idol.
Oh.
I don't know, unless they've changed it. It doesn't fucking matter. That's irrelevant. But so the whole like thing is that she compared him to her like 2-year-old child.
Yeah. And she was like, she wasn't even like talking to him. She was
talking to wasn't. His mom. She was talking to his mom.
Yeah. And like I don't know.
As if his mom was the one that was just like performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People really like to do that. It's pretty disgusting. And personally, as a performer myself, I have dealt with this time and time again. And one of my favorite things to do is to go to an audition. Mind you, I know I'll never get it because I never do. It doesn't matter how good I am. But what happens is I'll be in this room waiting to go into the audition full of all these skinny, pretty white girls, right? And they'll all look at me like, oh my God, it's so cute that you're doing that you're auditioning, that you think that you could possibly
You live your best life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, how adorable. Like, you inspire me. And so I'm always just like, oh, do I inspire you because you think that I'm gonna suck? Like, that's like always like people's like, oh, they can't do anything because they're disabled, right? Mm-hmm. So like whenever I go into the audition room, and I have a big ass fucking voice, the response when I come out of the audition room and see all these girls again is that they're kind of like offended by me. Mm-hmm. I've had that happen a lot of times where it's like, I shouldn't be good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need to suck. They were expecting me to be bad, and I'm way better than they are. And they just can't, like, I don't know, their brains explode. And it went from them pitying me to them, like, being angry that I didn't fit into like their ideal, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Like, why is it that you, in order to be successful or good at anything, you have to look a certain way? Those things are different. They're different.
I know. It's pathetic.
It really is.
But yeah, the whole like Cody Lee thing hits me in a very personal way, and I totally feel that, and I think it sucks how he's being treated. And I mean, this is once again goes back to why I'm done with able-bodied people. So the thing that I find funny about the whole like people thinking that disabled people are like have no talents or abilities or can't do anything, and if they can, it's shocking. And obviously it wasn't because of any hard work. It was just like a magical thing that happened, right? Like they're just like a prodigy. The thing that I find funny about that is like people like hold Stephen Hawking in such high regards, you know?
Because he was a white man and he became disabled.
That's what I was thinking too. I think it's because he became disabled.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And also that he's like the exception too. Like there would never be another disabled person that was smart or talented or like skilled, right?
Whatever, yeah.
Can I also remind everybody that we had a president that was disabled? We had a fucking president. And who was also part of the Illuminati, but whatever. But we also had a woman by the name of Connie Boswell, who was very famous in the 20s and 30s or something like that, or 30s, 40s. You know, those sister groups, the Boswell sisters. Mm-hmm. She was on like the Bing Crosby show, all that shit. They hid her disability. But she was very successful, actually.
They hid FDR's disability, too.
Yeah, they did. Obviously, you couldn't, like, get in there if you were openly disabled.
Yeah.
You know?
So stupid. I also wonder, like, I've had a few friends that were blind, and it's common to, if they're in a new place, like, even if they use a cane, to act as a sighted guide. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what game is this? And they're like, no. Like, when I don't know where the fuck I'm going, I need someone with sight to kind of guide me. It's called sighted guide. That's what you're acting as. Anyways, like, what would an accessible, like, stage look like for someone that was visually impaired like that, you know?
Oh.
Maybe, like, ropes? I don't know. But, yeah.
Interesting.
Just random thought. Because, I mean, surely he's not the only visually impaired person that's been on the show. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Yeah, the other thing with, like, accessibility and theater is, or like, stages, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not a concern usually. I feel like, for me, like, when I have performed on different stages, a lot of times there's just, like, a back door. Because they need it to get the sets in. Mm-hmm. So you can usually just like go through that back door and get in. But a lot of times there's stairs. They don't think about that because disabled people are not talented. And even if they are, why would anybody want to look at them? This is not what I think. This is the world. Okay, I'm rageful. Thank you.
But how is that ADA compliant? Because I mean, like, I'm sure not every fucking stage was built before that, you know, became implemented, you know? And like, yeah, you can have accessible seating, but it's a venue. Like, all parts of it should be accessible.
Yeah.
But I guess now that I think about it, I mean, like, restaurants might be accessible, but is their back of house accessible? No, not typically. I mean, like, you couldn't, from my experience working restaurants, you couldn't get a wheelchair like on the grill line. You can barely have two people like working side by side. That's fucked up.
Yep. Also, I am reminded of this one time where I had auditioned for this show in San Diego, a musical. And after my audition, like, they had basically, well, first of all, I couldn't even get down to the stage. Like, they were having the audition on the stage, which were downstairs, which I could have gotten to the stage, like I said, through a back door. And I know that I could have because there's always a way. But I just said, it's okay, I'll like sing from up here. And the piano player was like all the way down there. So I did. And their response was obviously that they were shocked, you know, that I could sing. And then their immediate response was, oh, well, yeah, we can't cast you because there's stairs.
Oh my God.
Which
was this
that's completely illegal. Like, now that I think back
illegal.
to it. Yeah, it is.
Was
like,
this like a literally... school thing? Or was this like...
Oh, no. This was professional theater.
Yeah, no, you totally could have sued.
Oh, I know. Like, I wish I would have, like, had more self-esteem. Yeah, because I feel
like you have faced so much discrimination just in the time that I've known you, which admittedly has been a long fucking time. But anyways, where like you have faced like illegal discrimination, and you should just have like a fucking lawyer like on fucking like speed dial, because this shit happens all the time. You could be coming into so much money. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but also money.
I mean, the thing is though, is like people like it's hard to prove discrimination. That's the problem with that. Because people, and especially for like theater and stuff, you know, like it's like because they can choose whoever. I mean, theater or performance in general is just completely based on how you look. It just is. That's like the nature of the fucking, that's just how it is. So it's like, would be hard to argue, except for the fact that that guy literally told me that he couldn't cast me because of there being stairs. He literally said that to me. So
okay. This might be illegal, but you should just keep like a fucking like recording device on you, right?
Oh, I know. I was thinking that, dude.
Like, you know, you can get like spy cameras and shit, like in teddy bears. Like, you should just strap one to you.
Or I could just turn my fucking phone on record anytime I'm about to like go somewhere. Or have like,
God, that's so fucking annoying. Like, it's a losing battle. I mean, like, you can't prove it, but you're facing it, and you can't even, like, fucking monetize it.
Yeah.
Shitty.
I don't know. It's a struggle. I feel very done. So, like, just in general.
Well, speaking of how theater is just, like, you know, based on your looks, how about that article about physical beauty standards?
Did you read that?
Yeah, the one by Heather Jones.
Okay, the way that you said that, I was like, do you know what that article was about?
Yeah, no, I couldn't remember her name. Sorry.
So that wasn't what the article was about at all. And it was actually, this woman had made a post on something, I don't know, and she had commented about something that had nothing to do with beauty or anything like that. And the response she got, people who didn't agree with like what she had said, the response she had gotten from them was that she was so ugly. Like, that was like how they would attack her. And then like people who were on her side for what she said, the argument that she had made, whatever it was, their response to her was like, you are beautiful, right? To try and like take away from like all the people telling her that she's ugly. And her whole thing was that she's like, I can be ugly. Like, she's like, I'm allowed to be ugly and have value. And I don't want you to come over to me and like try to reassure me because you think that that's where my value is placed.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather you encourage what I had just said.
Yeah, like how frustrating it is. Like, how frustrating is it to have your intelligent discussion derailed to just focus on her looks? Like, those are two separate things, people.
Yeah.
God.
It also, I mean, it goes to show, though, how women are just really, like, encouraged to, like, believe that their only value is based on how they look. And men and women both have been fooled and, like, believe this lie.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, Baldy. But, so, she was basically just trying to, like, her whole point, and I loved reading this because I'm so fucking tired of all of these people over here being like, oh my God, the standard of beauty is like just not welcoming for all of us. And it's like, nah, boo-boo. The problem is that you think that your value is based on your beauty or based on how you look. And it's not.
Yeah, instead of being and like
people
everyone
can't get
is
that in their fucking heads.
Yeah, dude, like instead of being like everyone is beautiful, try everyone is valuable, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Thank you. And the other thing is too, not everybody is agreeably attractive to everyone else.
Yeah,
like,
it's completely subjective. Bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It 100% is. Like, there are people that I think are really good looking that I've talked to other people where they were like, that person's the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life. And I was just like, whoa. And every time that happens, I love it because it goes to show that, like, everybody has their own taste, you know?
Yeah. And I really love this thing that, you know, she said that like saying that you are valued is unlike beauty because it can be applied equally to everyone and means I see you and I respect your right to personhood and dignity regardless of your personal strengths and weaknesses. It's like a mic drop right there.
Yeah, seriously. People are just, I mean, honestly, though, when it comes down to it, y'all are sheeps, okay? Y'all are fucking sheep. Wake up. Like, wake up.
And also, like, beauty fades, so why be so fixated on it?
Yeah, that's so fucking true also.
I mean,
it
like,
really is. It's just like, God.
Man.
Ugh.
So
this is why I'm not fucking with Ableds anymore. Not as if they're not, like, there aren't disabled people that are shallow. Of course there are. But I just, you know, like, I don't want to deal with sheep. Like, I feel like when you're disabled, you at least have to think a little bit, you know?
Yeah. So I went to visit my great-grandmother this week, and she had something kind of interesting to say about Trump. This is what she said. Like, this is a direct quote. Took a long time to get that ugly. My mentor once told me that you can tell the character of a man by his face when he gets to be about 45. Took a long time to get that ugly. Poor thing needs a lot of prayer. And I mean, like, I get what she says. You know what I mean? Like, when you are, like, constantly, like, stressed out or, like, in a negative environment, like, it affects your body, right? But, you know, that shouldn't be your value. But I guess that was just her nice way of saying that. Fuck Trump.
You know, I recently was listening to Johan Hari, I think is his name. Fucking insightful as fuck.
That name sounds familiar. A lot of
research. Yeah, he's done like a few TED Talks. So he was basically researching why people are depressed. Like, what it comes from, and obviously what he found is that because they're not connected and they don't feel like they have purpose or that they're seen or valued and all that, whatever. But one of the things he talked about was that I guess, like, Melania Trump had given some speech somewhere, and a guy had asked her, would you be with Trump if he wasn't rich? And her response was, do you think he would have married me if I wasn't beautiful? And I just thought that was the best fucking response ever, because I feel like gold diggers have a bad rap, especially because they're called gold diggers, because it's like their husbands are literally doing exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's a great response. I mean, but it's so true. But also, how empty of a marriage would that have to be, where it's like you're both, like, not into it, you're just doing it, like, for the convenience it affords you, you know what I mean? Like, it's convenient to have, it's a rite of passage to have a trophy wife when you're rich. And, right, like, when you're beautiful, it's a lot easier to be rich, you know, because you're already, like, given pretty privilege. But if you have money on top of that, like, man, what an easy life.
Oh, yeah. I think before hearing like her response, I think I had more villainized the women. And I think that that's so just like my conditioning, and it's so sexist. And I kind of am looking at it now as more like, yeah, dude, like, why are we so hateful towards women, like, as a society, you know?
Because we're a patriarchal society. Like, that's why.
Good point.
Yeah.
I still don't understand the, like, trophy wife or, like, trophy husband kind of thing, though. Not as if trophy husband is a thing that happens that often, but because it's like you said, like,
kept
why
men.
Kept men.
Yeah, a kept husband.
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel.
Intro music is from Lizzo. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or on our website, crippleandbaldy.com. If you'd like to be featured on our podcast or would like to send us an anonymous question, you can find us on our website at crippleandbaldy.com.
That's exactly how I feel. I woke up